it's almost like we're starting in a sequel. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Reel Chums. We're chatting about movies. Feels like hanging out with friends. I'm your host, Danny, and with me is my co-host, Marcel.
This week we are discussing... You flipped the table on me.
I got you.
You got me. This week we're discussing the 2023 film Dungeons & Dragons Under Among Thieves. This is directed by John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein. Written by John Francis Daley, Jonathan Goldstein, and Michael Gilio. Starring Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Regé-Jean Page, Justice Smith, Sophia Lillis, Hugh Grant, Chloe Coleman, and many more. Take that, Danny. How'd you like that?
Well, you didn't really have hard ones.
I'm sure you would have stumbled on like 3 of those.
Hey, you know what?
If you've been a long time listener, you understand that Danny
can't read names.
Sometimes pronounces names really awesomely.
Do you guys hear that sarcasm? You just bake a cake with that bad boy.
That was great.
Get out of here. Anyways, before we jump into the movie today, we wanted to let you remind you to please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube, and to turn on any notifications so you never miss an episode.
To join the conversation, follow us on social at Reel Chums on Twitter, on Instagram, YouTube, Threads. And if at the end you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could please leave a review. It really helps us get discovered. Just while you're out there, scroll down, give us a 5-star, and if you feel inclined to leave a review, please do. Like I said, it really helps us get discovered. I have a question for you from today.
Sweet.
Of all the Chris's in Hollywood, of the top 4 Chris's, which is your favorite Chris? Between Chris Pine, Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, and Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Who's your favorite Chris?
Probably Chris Pratt.
Oh, okay.
You?
Why?
So for me, Chris Pratt, part of it is this weird connection to me. Is like he was a fluffier dude during Parks and Rec, and he like got ripped, and I was like, maybe there's still hope for me. 2, I just think he's come a long way as an actor. I really enjoyed him in the Terminalist. He's played a way more serious role in that movie. And I've like recently seen him in more and more some other movies that like that was during the time period where like it was during my blip.
Oh yeah.
As well as like some other moments that I'm like, man, I like miss him. But then now I'm talking about it. I'm like, I don't know. Chris Evans is also like, so man, the Chris's, man.
The Chris's are. I mean, they've been taking over Hollywood for a while.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth with Extraction. You've also like, I feel like he doesn't have as much of a diverse role as many of the other guys.
That's true.
But
I agree with that.
But I think if I was gonna rank them, let me rank them. Okay.
Oh well, yeah, do it.
Okay, so I'll go with Chris Pratt, then Chris Evans, then Chris Pine, and then Chris Hemsworth.
So you did Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, Chris Evans. Sorry,
no, Pine.
So you did Chris Pratt, Chris Evans,
yeah,
Chris
Pine,
then
Chris
Hemsworth. That's good. I like that. I'm torn between my top between Chris Evans and Chris Pine. It's
a really once you start thinking about like Star Trek, and you think about some of the what else did Chris Pine did something else that was.
Chris Pine, obviously, the Star Treks, Hell or High Water. Did you see that?
Oh, yes. That was really good.
Obviously, Wonder Woman.
You know what? He missed... I think he got a poor script when he came... It was when he came out of the Star Trek hype, and he did a Jack Ryan reboot for Shadow Recruit.
Oh, yeah.
It was so bad.
Was it bad?
It was so bad,
I heard it was horrible, so I just never watched it.
Yeah. It was bad.
I saw him not recently, but I didn't know he was in The Princess Diaries #2.
Yes, actually,
and I saw like a clip of him in that. I'm like, wait, Chris is in this?
Yeah.
So, I've never seen the second one.
which is the one he's in.
Yeah, the second one. Yeah.
So we like a year ago, probably close to when we started the pod, or like I don't know. I just remember my girls watching the first one. We watched it for movie night, Chris, the Princess Bride, and then we ended up watching the second one, and I was like, Chris Pine. Oh, that's Chris Pine.
Yeah.
It's really fun to actually like.
He was like scrawny too. Like
yeah.
he was.
He was a kid. Well, I mean, what's the freaking actress name?
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not a Julia. What's the other one? Yeah, Anne Hathaway. Also, like, so young.
Yeah.
In any case, like for me, I remember like watching that. I was like, it's fun to like see where people. Fun side note: I watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Dude, that movie's phenomenal.
Is it?
I thoroughly enjoyed it again this time. And I remember why I enjoyed it when it first came out.
You know, I saw it once when it came out.
Are you serious? I saw it like 5 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I only saw it once. And to be honest, like I don't remember it.
Dude, you gotta watch it.
I'll revisit it.
It's a good time.
I'll revisit it.
What's her name from Scandal's in it? She's like a side character. Oh man. Kerry Washington.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kerry Washington plays like a support character in it, and I was like, Kerry Washington. Anyways, and the girl who plays in the like fairy tale show that was Once Upon a Time. No, what was that show? Freak. Anyways, there were quite a few people that were like, they showed up there like, oh, but seriously, it was a good time, and it kind of. I'm not comparing apples to apples because it's not that.
Sure.
But the new one coming out, I hope is as much of a good time.
I feel like it's going to be
A little bit more serious.
No, I feel like it's going to be a bit more comedic.
I hope so, because the first one is comedic.
I need to watch it. I need to revisit it.
You should. Sorry for
we went on a tangent there. Yeah, I think I'll give it to Chris Evans because he obviously he's great as Captain America, but when we saw him in Knives Out, you know, there's that movie he did, Wonder, is it? No. Chris Evans it's this very like small indie drama, Gifted came out in 2017. He plays like this uncle who's racing like this child prodigy.
Oh, okay.
And he's like in a custody battle with the mother. So he's the dad. Yeah, he's in this custody battle with the mother, and it is like he's great in it.
He's in the TV show, Apple TV show.
Last week, if you didn't check out our episode, we talked about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. My kids wanted to watch Into the Spider-Verse, and I forget that he's the original Peter Parker Spider-Man. He's so good, even though he's only in it for like 5 minutes.
I know
he is so good as Spider-Man. And then I will say that Chris Pine though wins. I think voice acting.
Oh, okay.
He was most recently in the Wish movie, from Disney.
Yeah.
And he was great. His song, he has like 2 songs. He has one solo song and then a duet with Ariana DeBose.
Okay.
His duet is probably like it's on repeat, like on my playlist.
Oh,
it's really good.
To it.
And then he was in like I said, Into the Spider-Verse. He was Jack Frost, if you remember.
Yes, we had like one winter where the girls just could not. They just kept watching that movie.
In Rise of the Guardians, and then he's also done voice work in what else? There was another one, which I really like. Anyways, I just think he's
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine, yeah. I think he's just great as a voice actor as well.
He does. I forget that he does voice acting, and he's done quite a bit of it.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, good stuff. Wait, so Evans,
I think overall, Pines? I think I'll give it to Evans.
Oh, Evans, and then Pines.
Pine is a very close second, and then Chris Pratt, and then Chris Hemsworth.
No, poor Hemsworth.
Hemsworth just needs to branch
out a little bit.
Yeah. I want to see him in like a good like drama.
Good drama. I feel like he would do a really good job.
We see glimpses of it in like Extraction.
Exactly.
Right. I think he would be. I think we need to see him more in some dramas.
Yeah.
Dude. Let us know in the comments who's your favorite Chris right now. Let's jump into Dungeons and Dragons.
Dude, I am pumped for this movie. Okay, let's just start off with the premise, okay? Dungeons and Dragons is about a bard who was part of this guild, ends up kind of getting lost, ends up losing his wife due to his escapades in this guild, and then has to raise his daughter of him and his wife, along with and some unlikely friends, and become thieves, but has a code, gets thrown in jail, and is trying to reconnect with his daughter and save his wife. And through that adventure, lots of interesting things happen, and we are along for the journey.
Yes.
It's not the best description, but
hey, I love it. It's good. You saw this when it came out, right? Right when it came out?
I didn't. Okay. I wanted to, really bad. But we'd started the pod. We wanted to go see it, but we realized that wasn't the route we wanted to go. And I wanted to go see it with my wife as a date night, and I'm terrible at planning date nights, so that didn't happen. So I bought it the moment it came out on digital and watched it like that weekend. Okay. I've watched it, I think 3-4 times.
Oh, really? Okay, so you've had a couple.
3 times, I think.
Okay. What's your experience with D&D, with Dungeons and Dragons?
This was going to be my question for the day. Which is, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons.
All right.
I've always wanted to go play. Part of the struggle for me is like I can't commit to another thing that would take 3 hours. But I feel like it'd be a lot of fun, and it would be a really good time. But I've had many friends who've been in Dungeons and Dragons. A lot of friends in high school talked about it. Played a lot of different role playing games. Obviously, not Dungeons and Dragons, but it's the OG like aspect. So good stuff.
When you heard that this was being made, what was like your initial reaction to a Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out?
So 2 things. One, I knew that they had made a Dungeons and Dragons cartoon in like the early 90s, like maybe early 80s.
I think it was like the 80s.
Yeah, or late 80s. Anyways, in any case, I just remember there was a cartoon for Dungeons and Dragons, and like there was like some love for that. I was personally excited. Mm-hmm. It looked like a great time. One, I'm a sucker for huge like ensemble casts of like characters coming together and like doing their thing. So that was a win for me. 2, it looked like it was gonna be like a fun quirkiness rather than just like a fantasy like Lord of the Rings adventure, which I really appreciated. And I felt like the like from the trailer, the CG and like what they were doing with it looked fun, like good and enjoyable. So I was excited. The one thing I did know, I was like, man, they either gonna like get big wins with this, or it's gonna be like a lot of hate from Dungeon. Like if this like Dungeons and Dragons peeps are like super loyal, super fans. They they craft their own stories and that whole thing. So having a movie like this, like how is it going to play out? I did do some research. The actual like the creator of D&D did like say it was great. He enjoyed it. He supports it, and he thought they did a phenomenal job. I think overall, from what I've seen, people have like found love. That they're like, no, they did a really good job like respecting it. For as comedic as it is. Yeah.
I mean, so I didn't see this when it first came out. I think I was excited for it, right? But I've heard nothing but great things about it, right? I'm looking up the budget on it was 150 million.
Yeah.
And gross worldwide it did 208,177,000.
Yeah. Not like an amazing opening, but that was a tough month.
This came out. What was it? March or
Yeah, there was like a lot of movies came out. There was, I'm pretty sure Fast 10 came out shortly after.
yeah.
Creed 3 was in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of movies that came out. So like that was, it was a little bit difficult.
Yeah, it was March 31st. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So it was right after Creed.
It was like legit. It was like almost like when we first started the pod, we were like, "Oh, these are movies that can come out. Let's get them out." And we realized that was not the way we were going to do our pod.
Yeah. So I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe we should preface this by saying like we are not dungeon masters or know anything about Dungeons and Dragons. It seems like you've been exposed a bit through friends.
Yes.
My entire knowledge of Dungeons and Dragons is based on what Stranger Things has done. That's
that good or?
Oh no, it's great.
Yeah.
Like that's all I know. That's all my exposure to Dungeons and Dragons.
If you have a podcast with that you do Dungeons and Dragons and you would love to have some guest people, we would love to hop on.
We would love to, I would love to play some one like you said. I need to find like 3 hours on a weekend, probably more, to like do a whole campaign.
And I know that people like pay shorter. Like it's like a spectrum. But like I feel like if you're gonna do it right, you should try to do it right.
You should try to do it right. Yeah. I remember when they announced the movie, I was like, I don't know about this. Like,
I think I do remember a little bit about.
I was just kind of like, whatever. And then the directors, which John Francis Daly, Jonathan Goldstein, they had mainly done Game Night. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. I enjoyed Game Night.
I didn't see it. I've heard people love it. And then they did the reboot of Vacation, the Vacation movies. That soft reboot.
Yeah.
Which I didn't see, but
John Francis Daly, I know him as Sweets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from Bones.
Bones.
Like he will always be Sweets to me.
Yeah.
He was a phenomenal character on Bones, like truly there. And truly, I don't know what his role, how he played, but he played a really great role in that series. And I really wonder if I mean, when you're in a production like that, you're in it so much. You're in the you're with writers, you're with directors, you're with the production crew. So you get to feel that. I do feel that a lot of these productions that they've done, at least that it feels like the writing feels a little bit tighter. There's a little bit more stuff happening. There's still some weak points, and I don't necessarily not weak points, but
I mean, yeah, but like I know that they were. I think they both were brought in to like clean up the story on Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah,
they were brought into. They were one of the many people that were brought in to clean up the Flash, and so like I think they're both great writers.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan was the one that also wrote the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. He's done those.
Oh, that's it. Oh, okay.
So like I think they have great experience. So when I heard that they were directing and writing, I was like, okay, maybe should be fun. Once I heard Chris Pine was cast, I was like, yeah, I'm in. I love Chris Pine, clearly. And then the rest of the cast. But once I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, I'm sold. Like, I'm ready for this. And let me tell you, I had a great time with it.
Okay. What was your initial reaction? Because this is the first time you watched it.
So this is my first time watching it. I will say it took me three viewings to finish it. Not because it was bad, but because I started watching it at 11 at night and I fell asleep 40 minutes into it both times one night. And then the next night I was like, okay, no, I need to watch it all at once. And then again, 45 minutes into it, I fell asleep again. So then the third night I was like, I need to stay awake.
You had just started a job.
Yeah.
And a new job, which wrecks you.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you.
So anyway, but I think this is the second time this has happened in the podcast where I did not write any notes. I just sat down and I just watched and had a great time.
How often do you do that? Like, do you often take notes when you watch movies?
For the podcast, always.
Yeah. Only when was the other one? Extraction 2? No,
I can't remember what the other one was.
It was another one that you hadn't seen.
Yeah, it was another one that I hadn't seen, but yeah, this falls under that category where I had my laptop out and I was ready to write notes, and I was just like, no, like I'm like into this, and I'm having a great time.
Okay.
And I'm enjoying it.
Give me the like. What are some? Let's give me some cliff notes on some of the things you thought did well, and then I'll see if we can dive in a little bit more.
The first thing when the movie ended, the first thing that I really liked was that they didn't go the route of like the Lego movie, where in the Lego movie you later find out that someone's playing with the toys, right? And it's a big reveal that the story is a metaphor for like the relationship the kid has with the dad, etc., right? The whole time I was expecting for there to be a big reveal that someone in the real world, so to speak, was playing this campaign.
Yeah.
Right? And that we were going to see all these other characters in the real world playing this campaign, and we're seeing it through the eyes of the Chris Pine characters and the others, right? So I like that they didn't go that route. That this was just like a contained story in this world.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to give it some meta aspect to the storytelling. One, I love that they didn't do that. That it was just, here's the story. I think other people would have tried, because we're seeing, we saw it in the Lego movie.
Yeah, yeah.
What else did we see? Something like that happen recently in the last decade.
I can't think of the other ones right now.
But
I would say like Jumanji. I like the Jumanji series. Felt like it was, that felt that I kind of would put that in that classification.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so that second, I really this really just became less less. What's the word I'm looking for? What's the genre that you would call this? I just spaced
fantasy.
That. Yeah, it became less of a fantasy movie and more of a heist.
Oh yeah,
it's a heist movie, right?
100% it's a heist movie. Yeah,
like it's not as good as like an Ocean's 11 from a heist perspective, but I like that you have like this group of individuals, right? Like an Ocean's 11, misfits coming together to do a heist.
Yeah,
like I love that this was, and I've talked about this. I love heist movies.
Me too.
Right, and so like it became a heist movie, and quite honestly, I love just like I feel like someone went into Paramount and said, let's do Guardians of the Galaxy, but Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like,
okay.
I feel like I got a lot of like OG Guardians of the Galaxy movie in this. Like you have the one character the reggae plays, like it gave me like Drax vibes, right? Mm-hmm. Where he takes things too literal, he doesn't get metaphors, right? And so like I almost got that vibe where it was like someone in a pitch meeting was like, let's do Guardians of the Galaxy but in Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
So I think those were like the main three things that I just like loved about this movie.
Okay.
I have some gripes, especially with the CGI.
Interesting. Okay, let's start there.
It didn't look good. Like that last battle
with the sorceress,
with the dragon, the statue dragon.
So it's interesting that you say this because this time I watched it, it didn't bother me as much because I remember.
Did it bother you the first time?
It did bother me the first time.
Even when they're in the maze. And when we're seeing Hugh Grant's character like standing on that podium and like I was just like, what is going on?
I don't know what it is, but I remember Vivian I'm like, the CG was okay. But this time, like, I remember, like, it didn't even faze me this time, which leads me to believe that, like, it's like one of those weird things, like you're like hyper aware of what you're watching because it's a new like franchise, and it's a new movie, right? And so you don't know how they're going to go about doing it, right? But I like because I remember the fight scene. I also thought, I'm like, man, I don't know about the CG. This one, I actually like was like thoroughly enjoyed with like I was like involved. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this scene. Oh yeah, this like how they went with this whole like the fight scene situation that like they're like coming together and it's like the end of the campaign, right? Like they're like throwing everything they can to make.
They're all using their powers, whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Right. And it like I wasn't even thinking about the like actual spell casting or whatever. I was just thinking about like what was happening overall.
Okay.
And it was like I enjoyed it.
I struggle with it. I mean, even like when they went into the
underworld.
The underworld. You had the dragon come out, right?
Also,
I didn't feel it as much. Part of me was like, oh, maybe there's some issue with like my TV or like because I was streaming it on Paramount Plus. But it was when they get back into the city and we see Hugh Grant and like that final like battle and sequence. I was just like, this is I'm struggling here. Like this is making like Ant-Man look great.
I don't know if I felt that strongly.
But I do appreciate though, unlike Ant-Man, sorry, where the whole movie's in the quantum realm and it's just inside the volume, so to speak. The principal photography, the times where they were like in an actual forest or walking through great landscapes was awesome.
I'm pretty sure they did a lot of like practical sets.
Yeah.
For this film.
And that's the thing, like those moments you feel it and it's like I'm glad that we're in an actual environment, right? Which is what made those CGI moments very jarring for me. Because I was enjoying that we were going through these beautiful landscapes and we were like by water, real water, and then all of a sudden CG and I was like, oh, it's a bit jarring for me. I think that was my biggest complaint, but overall I really enjoyed it. I will say this, and you might have a stronger opinions here. I haven't seen Michelle Rodriguez in anything outside of Avatar, the first Avatar, and the first Fast and the Furious movie. Okay. From what I remember, I feel like she was great here. Okay, and she had great chemistry with Chris Pine. Something that I feel like I don't remember having that great chemistry with Vin Diesel in the first one.
You haven't seen all the other Fast and Furious. She's developed into quite a few, like she plays very much similar roles. Like she likes to be like in it, and she likes to do a lot of her own stunts. There. But she's really grown in understanding how to like develop that connection with character, and she's come to understand how she likes to act, which I appreciate. Like you know how those there's actors out there, and so this is your first time feeling like you like connected with Michelle.
Yeah. I loved her in Avatar. I really liked her character. Yeah, it was like a very like hardcore Marine and whatnot, but I really liked her character in Avatar. But I like top of mind. I don't think I've seen her outside of those 2 movies, 3 now. Yeah, and I kind of want more Michelle.
Yeah, she's got a couple. She did a boxing.
That was her like debut film, right?
Debut film. I can't remember what. There's another. Anyways, I've always enjoyed Michelle Rodriguez. I like her character, like her.
I will petition, like I want to start a petition.
Resident Evil's the other one I was thinking about.
Okay.
She does play in SWAT, the OG, which I don't think is very big. And Blue Crush. That's the one I think about.
She was in Blue Crush?
She was in Blue Crush.
I've never seen it, but
yeah. Oh yeah. Anyways, yeah.
I want to start a petition where, I would really, after watching this, I would really enjoy her in Star Wars.
Oh, dude, I would love her in Star Wars.
I think she'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, she'd be great. Yeah. Okay. Let's hop into the characters now.
Okay.
Oh, so go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you what is it that you loved about this movie?
This time,
top 3 things.
The top 3 things I think I like rewatching this. I love that this got better the third time. Like it gets better.
I will say that I think on multiple rewatches, I will not that I didn't like it. But I think I will continue to love this movie more on multiple rewatches.
Yeah, so like this movie gets better and better every single time I've watched it. Particularly this one, I really, really enjoyed Edgin's and Holga's relationship in it, and specifically about the fact that it's so platonic.
I love that. I'm glad that it wasn't a romantic relationship.
Yeah, like that it didn't become romantic.
Yeah.
It didn't as he realized that they had a moment, him realizing that like she is the mother for his daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's the why bring back someone who he loves? Not that he doesn't love her, but like they've had a new life as like two friends that have cared for this individual.
Yeah.
For this child, right? Which was actually recently brought up in a Twitter. Someone on Twitter also brought this up after it. Like I had watched it. I was like,
yeah.
And honestly, I think once a week I see something on Twitter, I guess X, whatever.
Twitter. Stick to Twitter.
Where someone says like, "Yo, Dungeons and Dragons is a super underrated movie of last year," and to me, like I said, I think that one, it gets better with age. I love this time around. I really enjoyed the platonic relationship, and 3, I really love that they had this like heist comedy, adventure fantasy film in this world where I could easily see them doing a whole nother Dungeon and Dragon movie that's way more action driven. Right? That like, they have this world that is there that they can tell versions of stories. I could even see like a comedy, a rom-com
in this world. I like that you mentioned that because it's very like it's very well documented that Dungeons and Dragons is trying to rebrand itself, right? For the longest time, Dungeons and Dragons was like the nerds, right? Only the nerds played. Even in the last like 15 years where we've had this, I don't want to say a renaissance of nerds, but like
you just alienated like all of our.
No, all I'm saying is when I grew up, I was the only kid that was reading comic books, right?
Yeah.
Now more people are like, people love MCU, right? They love comic book movies and whatnot.
Our mall has the Dungeons and Dragons play. They had the largest Dungeons and Dragon gathering last year.
Oh, really?
In the mall. Yeah,
wow.
dude. They have it's called something like let me see. I'll have to find it. Anyways.
But like I feel like there's more. What's the word I'm looking for? I think nerd interests have become a lot more mainstream, right?
Yeah.
But Dungeons and Dragons continues to be like hardcore nerds. And I mean nerds like in the most like
sincere way.
Like
we're nerds,
right? So it's well documented that D&D is trying to like become more mainstream and appeal to broader audiences.
Yeah.
And this movie does that perfectly.
Dude, perfect. And I'm telling you, like the like I've watched I've only seen it 3 times, not 4 times. But this 3rd time I really was like, man, this is really great because the moment like they have these moments of pockets where like it feels so D&G and it's what's the guy's name? When
Zinc?
Yeah.
The
mystical elf that comes out of nowhere
that saves like the
with
cat
the super cool sword where he's fighting those
Thayan assassins.
Yeah, the assassins, and he like chucks the sword and like it flies and turns into like a little mini dagger.
Oh yeah,
Dude, that freaking is so good.
That was cool.
So cool.
Yeah. I wanted more of Zinc in this movie.
But you know what? This is what I'm telling you. I'm like, they could easily have a whole little like have him as like the reoccurring character in all these little like Dungeons and Dragon movies as the guy who just like travels throughout this universe encountering these heroes. But because he when he comes in to show like when he's on his presence, they like he provides so much charisma.
Yeah,
the way he like embodied it feels, and even the score. This time when I was watching it, I felt like the score even emphasized
sure
so much more of his character, and it made it so much better.
He's such a cool character in the sense that like, and again, as someone who doesn't know the mythology of it all or the lore of this world, his people, is he immortal?
I don't know.
He has.
If you know, please like comment because I want to know everything about it. Like what type of class is he? Is he a ranger? Is he just part elf?
His people became evil, obviously, because the are they pronounced Thanes?
Thanes, I don't know. Yeah.
Became zombified, right?
So, yeah.
But that was the only thing I'm like, so is he part of them? Anyways. But no, you're absolutely right. This movie does a great job at rebranding D&D.
Yes.
Making it appeal to broader audiences, which is again why I go back to like this reference of Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Guardians of the Galaxy was such a niche group of people that were reading those comics.
So niche, dude.
And James Gunn came and said, look, let me build out these characters. And it became the biggest hit, right?
Yeah.
These unknown characters, for the most part, unknown characters that now everyone loved. And I feel like that's what they're attempting to do here. And I think they did a great job. It's unfortunate that not many people saw this movie. I hope it gets a sequel.
Yeah, me too.
They did before the movie came out. Paramount Plus announced that they were going to do a TV show of Dungeons and Dragons.
I do remember this.
Right, so I hope that continues to happen because I do want to see more of this world, and I think if you continue to approach it in this way, where you're able to appeal to broader audiences, you're only going to win more people over, and it's just going to be a great hit.
I'm going to say it here, and I think this is going to become a cult classic. I think this will go the way of the Scott Pilgrim.
Okay.
World, where like people will start watching it because it was on Netflix or whatever, Paramount Plus, or like someone say, hey, you know what we should watch? Just watch Dungeons and Dragons, and like it becomes something that people will like love the performances and whatnot.
I want it to be that.
Me too.
And I really want to see more, and I hope it appeals to more people and more audiences, and we get more engagement. I want to ask a little bit about the characters.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about Zank, Edgin, and Holga, but like, who is your favorite character here? Because again, you have like such a mismatched group.
Yeah.
Very Guardians of the Galaxy like. Who do you like? Who stood out to you, both from performances, from a character standpoint? Like, who do you love here?
So I think when I initially watched it, I think Holga was actually okay. No, initially I think Simon was an interesting character with Justin Smith playing as Simon as the mage. He kind of, I thought his arc, I think, drew me in the first time. The second time was definitely Holga as just like an interesting character, like following kind of who she was. This one, I think Doric. Sophia Lilly's character. I thought this one she had such a, seeing her growth as she like is trying to trust him, and you comparing it to Guardians is really smart. Like I didn't even think about that, but like it really does have that vibe. And I love that we have something we can compare it to, because it can help us, you know, and it's part of it's like, you know, you're in a fantasy world, like having character types that like, you know, beneficial. But I really enjoyed the fact that she becomes the Swiss Army knife for the team, with her ability to like transform different animals and like helps them get out of the maze and whatnot. And so, for me, like that's there. But at the end of the day, like Chris Pine really like comes in and like owns the planner role. And I love the line where he's just like, you know, it's like, well, I'm the planner. Well, so you mean you plan for things to fail? No, just, you know, like if things change, then I'll change it.
And I pivot.
There's actually some really great lines. Actually, one of the when they escape from the prison, Jonathan. There was another line that I can't remember. I was like, oh man, I wish I need to get that on a t-shirt or something. But yeah, no, I think for me, that's why I've always enjoyed ensemble, like these like heist movies, because you can kind of you can watch it on multiple runs and you can focus on a specific character, and that's something that's always been enjoyable for me, because you can find yourself in each one of those characters at different times, or even just like connecting with the character at different times, which is always super beneficial.
I like that you bring that up, because even when I was watching it, and I don't know why, I had two movies come to mind. Obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And Rebel Moon. Okay.
Ooh.
Why? Because like some of the criticisms I had with Rebel Moon was just like, why we're going from planet to planet, picking up random people, right? Why do they join the fight, right?
Yeah.
The cost. And I felt like that wasn't fleshed out. Whereas here, we get really fun like character introductions, going back to like Simon or even Doric, right? Like we get to understand who they are, what stage they're in currently, why they join, and then that why gets paid off later in the movie. Something we didn't get with like Rebel Moon, right? When you're going with these big ensemble casts, and you have a whole segment where you're bringing them in together, you have to give us that reason as to who they are, why the leader wants them on the team, and why the individual is going to join.
You're 100% correct. And I'm glad you brought this up because I don't think I would have brought it up. But the biggest issue with Rebel Moon versus this and how they nailed it, they spent the first like, I don't know, maybe like 10, 15 minutes doing that prison story of why he's there.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful place to start. It's not like, sometimes they do like they start with the end and they go to, they go like backtrack. I love that they start in a place where they're in prison.
And it's such a fun exposition. It's a fun way to do like the exposition of it.
Yes.
Because you cut back to the front, to the present. He's asking about Jonathan. Yeah, go on.
No, so like I love that they have it, the exposition, and it doesn't feel like exposition. It just feels like we're part of the judge. We're judging this sequence.
Yeah.
Right. So we're coming to the understanding, why are they in prison? Right. And for that situation, and it gives us the whole breakdown of what the whole mission. We don't have to go through it's almost like we're starting in a sequel.
Yeah.
We had the whole first movie and he get portrayed, and that would have been more of a serious movie.
Yeah.
And now he's coming back to try to like redeem, and it's like a little thing. Because when we get to those other characters, Simon, his character, Holger already knows him. They've already had a little bit of like connection.
Yeah.
Which to me is more.
It's more believable.
It's more of a believable when you like, hey, I'm gonna show up at a bar, have a slow motion laser gunfight, and then a guy goes up. You know what? I'll give you my ship. Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna just give them your ship to go do this? Come on. Do you even know what they want?
Or see some guy jump on a griffin and like.
Oh, that guy's in.
That guy's in. Like, why? Yeah.
He's shirtless.
He's shirtless and ripped. I'm jealous. That's why I'm criticizing it. No, but no, you're absolutely right. It becomes more believable, and it becomes I can buy into these characters and into the relationships they have with one another. Right?
Yes.
And then even by introducing Doric, who's not part of the original gang, but we find out that Simon tried to court her, and there's that connection, right? And then when we see them interact for the first time, and she has no idea who he is, it's just so great. I love it.
I think, it's the same thing with Ocean's 11, right?
Yeah.
Ocean's 11, they already know who their team is. Mm-hmm. They've done different jobs, or they have them in some connection. And so them coming back, there's already, you can already feel that they have a relationship.
Yep.
That is some of the most valuable chemistry that you can get when you're doing a heist movie or a big team like ensemble sort of setup. Mm-hmm. Which why I love some of the early Fast and Furious movies. They did a really good job at like re-emphasizing that as they went through the series, and then it just freaking derailed atrociously. So for me, who's the character that you? I mean, can we talk about Holga just for a quick second?
Yeah.
Michelle Rodriguez. Okay, she doesn't have a ton of lines, but her performance every single time she does provide lines are spot on for her character.
Yes.
I also thoroughly, absolutely enjoy every single fight scene she's in. And I think my favorite is when she gets her battle axe.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this
right at the beginning.
Right, she's like, so how do you, if you don't mind me asking, how do you clean your axe? Is that really what you want to be? You want to be worried about it? Well, just humor me. And she's the one who demolishes all the soldiers while Chris Pine is over there
is still trying to cut off the ropes.
It's freaking so good.
There's a sequence there when she's taking out most of them, and she's like up on on steps, and there's the guy over here, and she just like body slams herself onto him.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah,
that was a sick move.
She actually gained weight and to try to what else? And like did additional like lifting so she could fit the character role.
More like a barbarian type
character. For the role to try to like help honor that and
I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. I was like I actually watched the featurette for some of like the swords and stuff, and because like they had really cool freaking.
Yeah, they did.
The axe was really cool. I loved the swords. I loved the thither wand. I don't know. It's great.
While we're on the topic of Holga, Bradley Cooper. What?
Oh yeah. Okay. I forgot about to say. This is the big surprise. I didn't realize that was Bradley Cooper until this watch.
Oh, you didn't realize it was him? Are you?
I don't know how I missed this. It was like I was like, is that Bradley Cooper? Wait,
yeah. My first time I was like, wait, is that Bradley Cooper?
And an Oompa Loompa.
And then the more he talked, I'm like, yeah, that's him. Which I want to know, like, the backstory behind that. Like, dude, does he know the directors? Like, does he owe someone a favor? Who was like, let's get Bradley Cooper to do this? Like, why not? It was great. I loved it. I think my character that I just absolutely fell in love with is Simon.
Oh, see, that was my first when I first watched it. I also Simon,
which goes a couple things. One, I love just like I think for me, right. Historically, any kind of wizard character is always just powerful, just this dominating presence, right? They have all this knowledge, they're wise and everything. And for you to then like subvert my expectations by giving me this young kid who like has no self-confidence and like doubts everything, I thought it was just great. Even at the very end when he like finally like gains that confidence and starts doing cool things, like there's this charm to him and this sincerity that I just haven't seen in a wizard. And so I absolutely love Simon. Which also, second point, I need more Justice Smith in my life.
Yeah,
he was in the first Jurassic World movie. Didn't come back for any of the other ones.
Yep.
Detective Pikachu. I'm still hoping they do a sequel.
Me too. I don't know if they're going to, but
I loved him in that. I feel like he's great, and I want more Justice Smith in my life. I need to see more of him.
He is great. I was like, what else have I seen him in? I think I've seen a lot of his. I mean, Detective Pikachu. I think he might be in a TV show, but maybe I'm wrong. You know what I liked about his character when I first watched it, like you said, we were subverted. Our expectations subverted because we do get the sense, like, hey, he was a so mage from the beginning story, and they go to find out, to go find him, and he's in the doing his little theater act, and gets caught, and he like is just trying to like make it by, and he's like, whatever, right? But I really appreciated Chris Pine Edgin's character to Simon, and picking him because he knew what he was capable of.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I love the line he says is it to Doric, I think? I can't remember who he said, but he's like, no, Simon may lack a little bit of confidence, but when it matters most, he's always there.
Yeah.
Right? And to me, that is a sign of a leader who understands character.
Yeah.
He understands, and I think that's why Zank and like Zank understands Edgin and understand at the end of the day, which puts him in that really ridiculous, precarious promise. Will you promise to give back all the gold? For a heist movie that you're like, what do you mean we're going to give back all the gold? It is super great.
Yeah. I love Simon. I want more of this character in whatever, hopefully in the sequel or in the TV show or the TV series. I want more of him. Lastly, I guess I know we kind of talked a little bit about this, but what are your hopes for this franchise? Do you want more movies, more TV? Like, you've talked briefly about like a rom-com even in this environment, but like what are your hopes for this franchise?
I just hope that they tell great stories in it. That's all I want.
Yeah.
And they did, the team did a really great job. And I think, like I said, I hope that this becomes a cult classic. Mm-hmm. People they like watch and they have backed it up. I think it already feels like there's like a little bit of that happening. But I hope that they are able to have the ability to go and tell different stories. That like the TV shows has success, or at least a level of success that wants Paramount Plus to continue this storytelling in this franchise, in this world. Mm-hmm. And it provides us another fantasy option that's not just Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, because Dungeons and Dragons is it's a vast world that has a lot of different things, and lots and lots of people have told countless stories since its inception.
Yeah.
And I think that we should benefit from those stories.
Yeah.
Because it's a really awesome world.
I like that. I really hope we do get more from this world. Like I said, they're in this perfect position to really continue to attract broader audiences. Even my wife, when she saw this, she's like, "This is really good." And like she played Magic: The Gathering growing up, so she's kind of a dork in that side.
Oh, bro!
No, she knows, she owns it, right? But she would never have watched anything Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Right.
So like as they continue to expand this universe, and as they go into like different genres and more, like I would love to see something a little bit more serious, more horror like. I think would be great in this universe. More comedy, have Zank kind of be like the character that connects everything together, be your Nick Fury, so to speak. I would love that, and I want more Chris Pine. I want to see his character more in these movies.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What was an outstanding scene for you?
I really, really love the scene where they go and start bringing back all those like dead. I think that was I think that was my favorite scene. Like, it was just funny. The questions, they have 5 questions to ask everyone. Even in the first guy that they raise.
Is that a question? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I really love that whole sequence.
It was really good. I watched the featurette on the swords because I own it, right? Uh-huh. And the story where the guy gets dismembered from his body when he gets the helmet.
Okay.
They made a specific sword for just that one scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like, it was this huge broadsword, this really good thing, and they made the one sword for that one scene.
Just for that one scene.
And it's like this movie wasn't a lot. Like, it was a pretty good budget,
yeah,
but it wasn't like a huge budget. But I appreciate the little details that they put into it, even if the CG, especially like watching it after the fact. Like, again, like I said, I want to reemphasize, the first time I watched it, I did feel like, I don't know about CG.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me anymore. Like, I'm like, I've acknowledged it. I moved past it. I just want to watch the movie and enjoy the good time.
You know, I think that's true. Like, the details, because I'm sure, again, as someone who's not a Dungeons and Dragons fan, traditional fan, I know there's a million things that kind of went over my head.
Yeah, same here.
Right? I know for a fact, right? And I would love to like have that conversation with someone who gets it.
Yeah.
And be like, oh yeah, this, when they said this, like, this is why that's exciting, right?
Yeah.
Even the whole thing with like that beginning when he's telling his story with Jonathan, right? They mention what race he is.
Yeah.
I had no idea, right? I just assumed, oh, he must be like someone who will be apathetic to their situation.
Yeah.
No. And I'm sure that someone who is a Dungeons and Dragon fan, when they said Jonathan of X race, whatever he is, they probably got that joke way earlier than I did, right? And so like I would love to like pick someone. I know there's a million things that went over my head, but I'm my interest is piqued. I want more, and I think that's kudos to this movie. Like you got someone who has never engaged with Dungeons and Dragons to want more.
Yeah. Real quick, my like top scene for this movie, or for this time, was actually the end fight scene. I know that you didn't love the CG, which is totally understandable. This time I really appreciated it. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because I connected with the characters more or whatever, but like I saw what they were doing there. Yeah. And I could totally like, I don't know, it felt like, oh, this is like, it, you know, it's the culmination of like their team trying to fight, like accomplish a roadblock that wasn't a part of their quest. Sure. And have it be as they've come together to like, fight the evil. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this time I just like really just thoroughly enjoyed the back and forth of the situation with each of the characters, with what they were doing. Yeah, I don't know. Just, it was a good time, like really good time. Good. I'm glad. I'll rewatch it again over the next couple weeks, and I'm sure I'll. Yeah, and if you like, you might not, but for me, that was like, it was a good time for me. So to the team at Dungeons and Dragons and the producers at Paramount Plus, I truly want to say thank you, because this movie was slept on. Yeah, and I hope that those of you guys who watched it before listening to this podcast, enjoyed it, and we'd love to hear from you in the comments or on our Spotify page or on YouTube, because this is what this podcast is about, is having these conversations and furthering conversation, and hopefully we get more of this. So yeah, I want more. Let us know what you thought of this movie. What do you think we missed? What, if you're not a D&D fan, like, what was your standout moments from this movie? Again, you can follow us on all socials at Reel Chums, or you can email us at reelchums.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, we'd love it if you could, we'd really appreciate if you could leave a review. It really helps us get discovered, or by sharing it with your friends on social and tagging us. You can actually find me on social at Rubio_TV on Twitter, and Marcel at Marstrosity, MARZTROSITY. Wow. Join us next week. We're doing something for those of you who have been longtime listeners. Our first episode was movies that shaped us. We're going to be doing throughout the year this next category of movies that we just don't get the hype for. So next week we're going to be discussing Grease. Whoa. The 19s, I don't even know when it came out. The John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John movie Grease. And this is my pick. I don't get the hype for it. I don't understand it. I haven't seen this in a while. I'm going to rewatch it. Oh, I'm going to rewatch it. And maybe I'll get the hype, but I don't get the hype. So go watch it. Come back. Convince me why it's good. All right. We'll see you next one. Later.